Alright, so now we're ready to bake this awesome low poly mesh and get some nice looking results. And make it all smooth. So I'm going to save it as bake.max. And now I'm going to collapse and move the magazine and other moving parts away from the body of the gun. What this will allow us to do is allow us to remove any errors and also make the AO maps at the same time. I'm also going to rotate. I'm going to detach real quick and rotate this fire selector switch down to the fully automatic position, which is, I believe, something like, I'm going to adjust the pivot really quickly. Something like, let's turn on angle snap, like that. Right, so now it's on full automatic. If you want to animate this fire selector, you could also just pull this away from the body and then forget about it. So now I'm gonna go to element mode and just kinda pick the magazine and all that jazz and move it way down here. Way out, whatever, because as long as you save out a copy of your lowpoly.max or whatever, your lowpolybake.max, then you're good. So I'm just going to attach the fire selector again. Alright, I think now we're ready to set up the cage and bring in our high poly mesh. So save it again, because this is a part where Max usually crashes a lot. And we're going to say high poly .max, import everything. Apply to all duplicates, auto rename them, do UC material, and now we have our high poly in 3D Studio Max. And for ease of use, we're going to go to layers palette. We're going to say hide unselected. And we're going to select every mesh except for the hidden one, which is the low poly. I could probably organize them better, but I'm not gonna. Now I'm going to hold shift and say cut. I'll make a new layer by saying create a new layer. I'm going to rename it high poly. I'm going to say paste. So now I can easily hide and unhide it. Okay. So now what I need to do is I need to bring out all the stuff that I just moved, and I need to put it where the new stuff is moved. This shouldn't take long at all this way. So easy. Okay, move this down here. Yay! Okay, so that's that, and we need to get this rotated down. So just because I can, I'm going to rotate it down by this way, because it's easier. Yeah, that's about right, actually. Oh, there's some, we can get rid of this detail temporarily. Because what purpose is this going to serve besides annoying us? Or we can stuff this under there. I'm really lazy when it comes to this. Oh, god damn it. Okay. So now we've encountered a problem. So we can easily fix this by simply moving it away from the body. And it's always nice to move it by like even numbers and stuff, so you can easily move it back. If anybody asks like why this has no AO under it, then they can just be answered, well, it was interfering. Alright. Okay. So now I think that's everything. This can die because it's some crappy little piece there. Alright. That's about as close as we're going to get. So now we have our nice low poly model. And I'm going to save it again because it hates life. And I think we're ready to start setting up the cage. So how do you do that? Well, let's go to the modifier list and say projection. Projection! Now, if your cage is messed up at all, mine's not, but if it does, just press reset and it should reset to the max default stuff, yeah. After it did that, go to shaded view, because then you can see stuff easier. It might glitch up, but you can see your cage better, a lot better. There we go. Something else here that I'm gonna do that probably a lot of people don't do is instead of editing my cage through this default cage editor, instead I'm gonna press export and export as cage. Now what that allows me to do is it allows me to actually select the cage and treat it as if it was a mesh. Now this is really good because you can just add the push modifier to whatever you want and kind of just go like that, and there you have it. Nice clean cage, and you can collapse it down and whatnot. So this is my preferred workflow. It takes a little longer, but I find it easier for whatever reason. Okay, so we've encountered an area here. Oh, a little trick. Triangulate your mesh before you do any of this. Please edit this out, dude. Please edit this out. Please edit this out. Please edit this out. Alright, so before I go and add my projection modifier, I'm going to triangulate this mesh by simply just going convert to editable patch and convert to editable poly again. And so now we can see it's all nice and ugly triangulated, like as if it was in a video game. Perfect. Now when mesh is triangulated, there's no more n-gons, and the push modifier and everything works a lot better. So I'm going to go to projection modifier now, and I'm going to say pick list. I'm going to select all of them. And now instead of editing my cage through the cage editor, instead I'm going to say export as cage. There we go. So now we can treat it as if it was a mesh, because it is a mesh. See, there's our cage. So now we can just simply select by element and use the push modifier instead of trying to manually select all the verts or whatever garbage it wants you to do. So for example here, we've got it kind of wrong, right? So now we just add the push modifier, and voila. Nice. Something that's probably really important. Please do not use any kind of mesh triangulation, vertice changing thing other than push, skew, etc. Stuff that doesn't change the vertex numbers. If it changes the vertex numbers or the vertex count or anything like that, it won't work as a cage. It's super irritating, and I've had it screw up so many meshes because I was dumb and I used the wrong modifier or something. There's probably a much better way to do this, but I don't feel like learning it right now. This is just easier, I find. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you should explode your bake, but just exploding your bake takes so much time, I find. There's no, like, script or anything you can get to do it, so why bother, I think. I mean, yeah, your results are probably nicer and have a lot less errors, but this will work just as good with a little Photoshop editing. Right? What's your opinions? Let me know. Some of it can be scaled directly because it's not... It is perfectly round, I should say. No, you can't push it too far, else you'll start getting errors. So just like that, and I'm going to collapse it, and I'm going to go and I'm going to say, push all this garbage. Now your cage might work a little strange, since it's all triangulated and whatnot. Might be a little difficult to select stuff at times, but no worries, dude. No worries. It's all good. Just stay calm. Don't get raged. So this is probably one of the most boring sections of doing this entire process, in my opinion. Alright, so that's all. Now, here's the thing. You want to try and keep stuff for details as close as you can to the details, but also as close as you want to get the cage to fully enclose the details, but you don't want to, you want to keep it close to the mesh too, so something like that. So you can see it's like just barely outside this. And so you can see the push modifier is also probably working a lot better than it was, or than it usually does, because it's all triangulated. And one of my buddies found this out, and he was like, hey, it works better. I'm like, what? No way. Tried it, and it's like, yeah, dude, it works. It's great. It's the push mod, and kind of get like that. And oh, there's some more details. Who's that Pokemon? There's Pikachu. It's coughing. God damn it. Blah. Whoops. Oh, also, something I should have said is that if you don't use the push modifier on cylinders and push them like equally away from the edge, then you're gonna get errors. But you can fix those errors in Photoshop. There's just, if you have a lot of them, they're tedious as all hell. anybody who's ever worked with wavy edges will know exactly what I mean. They're not difficult to fix, but if you have a lot of them, they're hard to fix. Or annoying, I should say. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select everything that needs to be moved by or pushed by this amount. And just do it because it seems to be a generally okay amount for pushing. Yeah, this is not bad at all. Instead of doing it part by part, this seems to work better. I'm not going to do the magazine yet because it's too far away. Okay, so now we're getting there. We're getting just a boot there. Don't worry, because this tutorial has more smiles than any other. God damn it. So E3 is now over. E3 2009. If you're in the future, listen to this, then please send a time machine back with you. Because I want to go to E3 2009. We'll see Duke Nuke forever. Uh... Pull this out to help encase the details. You might get some wavy edging, but so what? Okay, so we're almost there. Then we can finally press the big red bake button. We just need to do the upper receiver cover thing, the magazine and the foregrip, and look for any errors. We can do the error looking through the cage view. It's a lot easier to see stuff. Okay, no errors there. Long pause. I step away from the mic to breathe. Or something. He sucks. He's on the internet. The evils. This is your subconscious speaking. Please get off the internet. Crap. I need to push this more. What's going on here? Whoa. Oh, snap's on. Oh, snap! I'm scared of that push because it was irritating. Oh, crap. Okay, good enough. Oh man. Save often, because this crashes so much on me. Again, usually I'm baking in like Max 2009. That thing's so buggy. That thing crashes on me often. It's starting to get a little bit close. Just manually bring this out, I guess. I need to get those graphite modeling tools and get the poly loop buttons or whatever. That must be so helpful. Push. Okay, and collapse. Let's see what we can do on this bottom port. I did that intentionally, by the way, because I thought it might be funny, but I guess it's not. There's no canned applause. Hey, pay attention. We're ready to bake. So now we gotta find our high poly. I mean, a low poly that has the projection modifier, and we're gonna go in here and say import. I'm gonna select this. It should work. Now we're gonna save like 5 times because this is gonna crash a lot on you after you start baking stuff. It's probably advisable to restart 3 Studio Max like every time you bake because it starts to die on you. Alright, so here we go. We're going to set it up. We're going to render to texture. That's in rendering, render to texture, or press 0. So now we're going to make a new folder in our AK folder called Bacon. No, Bacon. There we go. And enable the projection modifier. We're going to say padding 2. That's okay. We're going to add output normals map at 1024 by 1024, just as a test. And then we're going to say save again and render. No, actually, yeah, you can do render, or you could, if you haven't already started to render, then you want to go to the rendering dialog and change your anti-aliasing filter to Catmull ROM. If you don't mind waiting a little bit longer, you can enable Super Sampler. Max 2.5 stars is really good for that. Don't use Hammersley because it's too intense. For motion blur and image blur, turn it off because that's irritating. Enable SSE because we can. And save it again, and now we can render. Alright, so I'm gonna stop this before I start rendering because if not, then it's gonna like lag my entire computer down. So press continue at this dialog and have fun. Okay, so I've opened a new 3D Studio Max window. And I'm going to open up my scene called Low Poly UV Packed. And so now I'm going to add an edit poly modifier. I have this copy of 3D Studio Max, so this version doesn't have my custom awesome UI setup. So I'm hit edit poly. I'm gonna detach all the stuff that needs to be, such as the magazine and this. Oh. Alright, so make sure you detach everything that needs to be symmetried into its own object. And then you can apply the awesome symmetry modifier. There we go. All symmetried up. And you can move the magazine away, but I'm not gonna. Make a new material here, pick something. Mine blanked out for a sec. Go to DirectX material and find your shader. Oops. Using Zoliul's shader 1.01 for this, which is probably pretty old by now at least. Now I'm gonna find the normal map. I'm gonna find the actual normal. And it's gonna load for a sec, and then, whoa, what just happened? Oh, camera tool. That was awesome. So now I can apply this, and oh hey, look at that, it looks wrong. We need to flip the green channel. That's more like it. Yeah. That's a nice clean bake. Really, that looks pretty sharp. We have a problem here with the back, and that's something that can be fixed in Photoshop, and I'll show you how to do that, because that's a pretty well-known trick. But first, I think, because all the cylinders all baked out pretty well, and our cage did a really good job, and all the floating geometry was all captured really nicely, and yeah, I think anything that needs to be fixed can be fixed in Photoshop at this point. And I think we can bake our ambient occlusion maps and our full-size normal map. Obviously, there's a little tiny glitch here, and we can fix that. But otherwise, it seems to be okay. Actually, seems really nice. This is a good, clean bake. The only things that need to be fixed can be fixed easily in Photoshop. And they're actually only seen at really high angles. If you want to make your scene really a lot nicer looking, add in 3 lights. Just go to Omni Lights, and you can add 1 Omni. This is your normal just 3-point light setup. So here you've got our main light. We've got our secondary light here. Just placing these for example, and then we've got our rim light, which is all the way back here. This back one here is going to be colored a little bit yellow, not too yellow because we don't want it to look ugly or anything. Just a little tint. We're just going to leave the rest for now. We're going to add in light 1 position, Omni 1, light 2 position, Omni 2, and light 3 position, Omni 3. Next we're going to, or at least we should be able to up the active lights right here to 3. So now you can definitely see our bake is a lot more pronounced looking and stuff. Our rim light setup should be a rim light. Rim light should be like that. It should be highlighting just like the outline of the object. Yeah, some relatively like that. And this backlight should be way back here, and this the main light should be up here. Our diffuse color is gray, so it's gonna be kind of bright. Once we get our ambient occlusion map, everything will look a lot nicer. So you can see we've got a little bit of smoothing errors every now and then, but overall this is a nice clean bake. And you can see how everything has a nice rounded edge to it, and if you've managed to get this far, give yourself a cookie because you earned it. Getting a clean bake is not easy to do. And I managed to do it first try because I have a lot of practice, but once you get down like me, then have a lot of fun because this stuff is awesome. Let's see. Let me just run you through all the parameters in this shader real quick, because they're pretty. It's a nice shader. Props to the guy who made it. These are all the light positions. You can change the light positions. Obviously, you can adjust the output gamma, which is not particularly useful to you. Half Lambert adds a cartoony type, like TF2 type look to it. And you can adjust all the stuff for that. These are all the diffuse map settings. These are all the specular map settings. You can change the color, like the tint, like the global tint of the light. Usually you don't want to change that from white though, right now at least. You can add a specular map, you can add your gloss map, you can add your normal map, you can make it object space, you can do all sorts of nice stuff. You can use the Fresnel reflections. So Fresnel reflections will also add a better looking rim light to your object. And so now I can go to, I'm going to enable the Fresnel reflections, just because it's going to look really nice. And we're going to go and say, use world masking. Yeah, that's right. What that'll do is it'll mask by the angle it's at. We're going to say use a reflection map. We have no reflection map, but when we do, for now, we're going to use just the ambient occlusion map. We're going to say reflect cube map. We're going to find a cube map. Your cube map has to be a multi-image, like prepared cube map. The shader itself comes with one. It can't just be a single image. It has to be a prepared cube map. Here we go. Can't see it now because it's not doing it. Here, I just added a test map. Now you can kind of see it on the stock. It'll become more apparent when we have our own like reflection map. So right now we have a chrome. Yeah, you can definitely see it now. And if I turn up the multiplier, you can see it even more now. So I'm going to find a different cube map because I don't like this one too much. I prefer a more industrial, like purpley looking one because it looks more like an Unreal type thing. Alright, but anyway, now I'm going to go and I'm going to turn down some of the lights. Like this. Now you can definitely see the cube maps working. They're magic. I accidentally just saved over it, but it doesn't matter because it's finished. Real time. Don't ever accidentally save over stuff, ever. It's bad. It's bad, very bad. Don't do it, please. Please don't do it. I've done it so many times, it's not even funny anymore. I'm going to give the rim light a little bit of a blue tint, but not too much because I don't want it to look next gen. You know, next gen. Oops. Wrong check mark. Something like that. That's not bad. For now. Alright, so alright. So I'm going to go back to my other window. You can see all these errors. Like the errors will show up as red. These errors that we have aren't a big deal because this one right here, simply it's not getting any rays casted. Like there's nothing to cast onto it, so that's okay. We can fix that in Photoshop. The rest of it, I'm gonna give everything else a global like 0.1 push on the cage to fix some of these little tiny errors. So I'm gonna select all and I'm gonna say there we go. Select all. That'll fix all the tiny errors. Alright, so now I'm gonna, instead of using mental ray to do ambient occlusion, I'm gonna do the old trick of go to rendering, light tracer, turn on light tracer. Then I'm gonna go to lighting, I'm gonna add a skylight, change the color to pure white. Now this is where your scene might crash. Select all the objects, make a new material that's pure white, apply it, and wait. Now this might take a couple minutes. I've had it take like 15 minutes sometimes, but usually it shouldn't be too much of a problem. When it gets done, immediately save. And and you might want to restart 3D Studio Max. Because you don't want it to crash. So while that's going, let's just play around with this shader, because it's a nice shader. Check in on this. Oh, there we go. So now we have our low poly. Hide the cage, because we don't want that. And now we're going to up this to a ridiculous 4096 by 4096 resolution. That might be crazy, and you might have to wait a week or something. It's going to be worth it, though. Just the clarity of the map will be ridiculous. You also want to add a complete map. I'm going to do it half size and then scale it up. And I'm also going to add padding higher. I'm at 4 padding. Alright. Oops, what did I just do? Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, I'm not that good with computer. I could do it half size and scale it up, or I could just press it all the way. Alright. Well, let's close our other copy of 3D Studio Max for now. Yep, I want to save it. And, press render, and you can press continue, and when you're done, you'll have a finished bake. And you can just keep iterating on it until you get the bake you want. Hey there, so now I'm going to show you how to fix some basic baking errors using this little test scene that I cooked up, and I'll include this with the videos. And so I baked down this little tiny cylinder. It's just got some floating detail right here, this little square strip. It's got some baked in, like modeled in detail that I did really quickly, and it's got some lines and wavy edges and smoothing error, like smoothing groups. You can see the wireframe of this is extremely simple. This end it has beveled edge, the other end has smoothing group separated edge. So firstly, the most common thing with cylinders when they're getting baked and details getting baked onto them is wavy edges. So you can see here that when I look at it from this direction right here, then you can see that it's nice and smooth and it looks nice. But when I turn it around, let me maximize this. Yeah, you can see from this direction it's nice and smooth. Right, nice and smooth. But when I turn it around, you can see it's all wavy and ugly. And when I look at it straight on, it's pretty wavy. So the way we can fix this easily in Photoshop is by simply taking our push or smudge tool and just running it back and forth across the line several times until you smooth it out enough, or as much as you want to. I have the hiccups. Probably shouldn't be recording this with the hiccups. Alright, so now I can save this down. I want to save it as something else. Okay. So I'm plug this into the to here. Alright. So now you can see when we look at it from this angle, it's not quite as smooth as it was, but when you look at it flat on, it's nice and smooth, and when we look at it from the other angle, it's just as slightly bumpy. So that's exactly what we need, and that if you add more size to the cylinder, it'll probably give a way nicer result than having wavy edges all over the place. Second thing, which is a pretty common thing when you're using the 3D Studio Max built-in render to texture feature are skewed details and details that are warped. Like you can see here that this cylinder, even though it's not a perfect cylinder, it's like kind of indented funny, and it's not being baked straight on is the thing. So to fix that, we can go and we need to do a separate bake. We can either adjust the cage, or we're going to do what I'm going to do is we're going to do another bake with cage off. So we're going to go to projection mapping in our render to texture window. We're going to say options. We're going to uncheck use cage. Now when you uncheck use cage, instead what it's going to do is it's going to split all the smoothing. It's going to split the cage at smoothing groups. And it's going to make it so everything bakes straight on, perfectly straight. It's going to look really good. So we're going to turn up the offset, which is the ray distance. And we're going to hit bake. Alright, so now you might be able to see that everything's baked straight on. There's still some wavy edges, but when we open it up, it's a lot better, is what I'm saying. So now we're going to combine these maps. You can also see that this edge here and some other stuff looks nicer. So we're going to combine these, and we're going to do this by simply selecting the areas that we need to fix. So that would be all of this stuff. And select just the indent on the cylinder. I'll fix this selection in a second. I'll redo that. And then we're gonna say we're gonna give it a mask. Boom, mask. So now we save this and go back to our scene. You can see that the bake is a little bit better. And if you just keep adjusting stuff and like turn down the ray distance and recombining stuff, then you can fix stuff. Because you want the cage to be as close as possible. So if I go back and I turn the cage distance down, or the ray distance rather, and I re-render, it might be better, it might be worse, I don't know. But if you just keep playing with it, you should find some distance that will give you the flattest result, and it'll look good. If none of that works, and you keep getting wavy lines, then you can use there's a normal map creation shader. It's a real-time DirectX shader that basically makes everything into a normal map colors, and it's made by Ben Cloward or something. I don't remember his name, but it's a fantastic shader, and props to him for making that. And I'll show you what it is. Exactly how you use it. So you open up your shader. It's called normal map maker.fx. And now I'm going to unhide everything except for my high poly. And get my detail how I want it. Right like that. And I'm going to give it this material. And you can see that it's turned into a normal map, basically. And so now, to get this into our map, we're going to print screen it, which is kind of, and so now we're going to pick this detail out using just cut. So now we have our detail back. We need to flip this to get the color, I believe. Channels, flip to green. Yep, that's right. And now we're going to scale it down and edit it to make it look nice. with the opacity, we can get it exactly on top of it. Alright. There we go. And so now I'm just going to use the, select it, and I'm going to use feather with 2, and then kind of just, track this by a little bit. Add a mask. Yeah, something like that. Right, so now we've got our nice detail, and now we can fix this other skewed crap down here by just duplicating. And so now if we save it, and we go back to our baked detail, you can see that it's nice and it's exactly perfect. So that's a way you can fix some detail if you don't feel like baking and rebaking over and over. So another thing is kind of like glitchy edges. This is more wavy edges, but you can see that there's also some noise. We can fix the noise, I believe, by turning on the super sampler. So I'm going to say use cage, and I'm going to go and I'm going to fix the cage a little bit. I'm going to play with the cage. I'm going to get it closer. You want the cage to be as close as possible. So it might be a good idea to just, not fiddle with it too much. And if you get the cage as close as you possibly can, and then you can bake like the rest of the details later. I don't know, something like that. That might work. So I'm just gonna overwrite that to get all the edges nice. I'm gonna turn on. Oh, I forgot to turn on the super sampler. Whoops, I'm pressing the wrong buttons all of a sudden. Oh god. Alright. Alright, so now if we open up our bake, we update it. You can see there's no more crappy edges. There's still some waviness, but we can fix that easily. Add a mask to this. And add a mask down here. And now we can use the smudge tool to fix up this bottom portion. Save it out. And now our edges are nice and smooth. Right. So that's a nice bake. And that's a good normal mapped object. And it's unfortunate that using this method you have to combine so much stuff in Photoshop, but I think it's a nicer result. Let me show you, I just want to show you a little bit of this trickery we like to call object space normal maps. Just really quickly. Now, if you push the cage uniformly, it sometimes won't bake right, so I'm just gonna do that on purpose then. To bake with object space normals, in this you want to do world space, because world space and object space use the same maps, I believe, but with they just use different code, is what I've been told at least. So I'm gonna save this as different file name. Okay, and element background is going to be black because there's no kind of neutral color for object space. Alright. So now this trickery we like to call object space. Turn on the object space tab, ticker thing. It's not bad. However, you're going to end up needing to flip a bunch of channels in order for it to work in the shader. And swap channels and stuff. But I'm not going to get into that because you can go to a wonderful forum called Polycount and find out all about that. So I'm going to stop recording right now, and I'm going to go and I'm going to start baking all the stuff I need to start texturing the AK. Alright, so I've got this baked down, and it looks pretty nice, I think. And I've got it in Max 2009 with all the fancy shader stuff. And I need to bake some stuff before I begin texturing. So, what I need to do is I need to go back to our baking scene. I need to turn off Light Tracer. I need to get rid of this skylight. What I'm going to do is change the environment settings to tint black, ambient white. And what this will do is that this will basically cancel out all lighting. Now you might be thinking, why are you going to do that, huh? So now I need to make two materials. First off, I need to change the white material to black. And then I need to get a pure white material. What I'm going to be using this for is I'm going to be using this to make a mask of stuff that I need to add like highlights to and whatnot for detail. So pick out a lot of your baked in detail. I'm going to hide this for now. So here's all your baked in detail. And I want this. Some of the stuff you're gonna need to do some heavy editing in Photoshop, but that's okay because we have time. Because what's gonna happen is it's also gonna. Oh, okay, never mind. I just inset that selection. So now I'm planning out stuff to do. That's good too. I want these little tiny ribs on the magazine to be selected. So now I think that's all the detail that I have. Just gonna take a quick second look around. Yeah, that's about it. Now, why I'm making this mask is so I can brighten some of this stuff up on the specular map, and I can easily select it in the future. So also I'm going to take these little bumps, because these bumps are important. Actually, no, those don't need to be detached. I'm just gonna leave these for now. Going back, making some changes, you know, the usual. So I think that's about it. So I'm gonna unhide this again. And hide the cage, because that's irritating. So now that I've got all this stuff, I'm gonna go to render to texture. And I'm gonna delete both these things. Actually, I'm gonna disable them because it's easier. And it's temporary. And I'm gonna add in diffuse map, I believe. But for safety, I'm gonna add in complete map. And now I'm gonna change the file name so I don't overwrite anything. I'm gonna change it to detail selection, and I'm gonna change the map size to 4096 by 4096. Whoops, I just accidentally closed the window. Alright. Whoops. 4096. This is real TV. We don't delete the mistakes. Right, so now I'm gonna bake this out, and I believe this should go fast. If not, oh wait, no, I don't want to overwrite any of this stuff. Just temporarily delete this. Alright, so while this is going, this is gonna take a while, so I'm gonna go eat lunch, and I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna work a little bit more on this, and yeah. Oh, something else I can do. I can export the rest of the stuff. So I have my other scene open in a different copy of 3D Studio Max. So I've got my base AK, I've got that, but I don't want that. I want to attach everything back in because I detached a bunch of stuff because I'm stupid. And attach all this back. And yeah, it's a pretty nice bake. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. There's only a few errors, like this grip, that can be fixed in Photoshop, or you won't even notice because of the texture. So, now I'm gonna export a couple different things using Textporter. Machine's gonna be a little laggy because this is crazy. Yeah, so now you can see it's exporting this nice template type, like a mask for all this stuff. I keep saying template, I don't know why. It's a mask. So now I'm gonna set in the dimensions. And I'm going to uncheck mark overlaps, uncheck backface cull, and I'm gonna say face normals, yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna leave everything default for this one. So now it should compute it, and there we have our UV map. I had a surprising number of people ask me why are these colors there? And these are the face normals, like what direction everything is facing. So you can imagine this is really, really helpful for determining what direction stuff is facing, because that's what it's for. Yeah, so that's what this map does, and it's one of the first things I learned when I started texturing. So I'm gonna go and make a new folder called texture stuff, and I'm gonna make color UV .tga. Save it there. Don't compress. Okay, so I have that one. Now I'm going to change it to colorize by constant. I'm going to change the constant value to white, and I'm going to disable edges draw. So now I'm going to pick object, and I'm going to get this. Now this will make a really good mask, and so I can quickly select whatever I want. So I'm going to call it template.tga, just for the fun of it. And let's see what else I can do here. Is this triangulated? No, okay, this is not the triangulated mesh. So what we can do is we can add edges fill here, and we can change the constant to, let me just test this out. Yeah, so uncheck polygon fill or ploygon fill. So now we have a wireframe version of our UVs. And you might be able to imagine that this is helpful for a lot of reasons. You can overlay it on top of the UVs or on top of the texture, so you can know exactly where stuff is going. So I'm going to save this as wires dot TGA. Alright, and let's check on how this is doing. Alright, yeah, I know there's a bunch of errors. Ray mischeck box, uncheck the in the render to texture dialog. I'm talking too fast now. And get rid of all that. So now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna detach some stuff. Is that okay? Okay, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. So we have our magazine here, and our magazine quickly just can be moved out. It's good if you, on your low poly now that we've got everything out and baked down, that you go and analyze the rest of your bake. And, you know, make sure everything's detached properly and whatnot. So your animator can have some fun while you texture it. Now, one criticism some people have with not exploding the bake, like doing the bake as a whole here, is that some people say that, oh, it makes a lot of like corners will bake onto the wrong things or whatever. Like, let me see if I can find an example. Like, you'll get some weird like bevels where stuff is intersecting, but I haven't had that problem yet. My bakes have come out just fine. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of convincing, like, baked-in detail here, and like some of this looks as good as a 3D object, probably. And I've also separated my fire selector switch. So when this gets done baking, I think that I can begin texturing. So we can start by opening our stuff in Photoshop now while that's baking out. Just open them all. Alright, so now this is basically the main stuff that we can use to begin texturing. So now we're going to use this as the main TGA thing. So I'm going to shift drag both of these into this one scene, and I'm going to close these to save some RAMs. And I'm going to save this as diffuse.psd. So with this wireframe, we can set this to screen and keep this on top of everything and use this as an overlay. So let's rename this really quickly to wire overlay, and we're going to change this to base norm. Uncheck that and rename this to template. Why not? So it's almost done, and as you see, we're going to have a bunch of errors that we can paint out. And basically all we're going to do is we're going to select the red value, and then we're going to take that and we're going to just say select similar, and then we're going to expand the selection by like 5 or something, and then we should have all the errors gotten rid of. So now we've got all this here, and we've got this, and so we're going to just keep these under everything. And so we're painting at this gigantic resolution so we can scale down and get some nice everything. There's actually a lot of wasted space on this UV, I just realized, but it's good enough, I think. So I'm just kind of thinking how I should texture this, like how I will go about making a material such as bakelite, backlight, whatever you call it. It's kind of a rare material. Well, nowadays. Alright. Got our mask. So let's import this mask here from Bacon. select this big old red blob, and I'm going to say select similar. So now that should have about everything, right? It's got all the big stuff. Whatever, so I'm just going to say select, I'm going to modify expand by, let's see, 5. Oh, that's not even enough because it's such a huge map size. Expand by 10. That's okay. So I'm going to add a new color fill layer with just jet black. So now you can see a lot of our errors are gone, and we can just paint out the rest using paintbrush. Very easy. Now, all these errors are from ray misses, obviously, because you need to uncheck ray miss check. And a ray miss is when a ray doesn't hit anything, like when the surface is capturing nothing. And you're going to get a lot of these little tiny errors and whatever, which aren't big deals. So, that's all. That's like all the errors painted out now. That took us all 5 seconds, basically. And let's see, what else can I do here? I'm going to desaturate this image by just making a hue saturation layer of -100 saturation. So any kind of red, anything, any red errors, any red whatever, they're all gone now. So now I'm gonna save this as a TGA, as a PSD, just because I can come back and do whatever I want. And I'm gonna select the entire canvas. I'm gonna say Shift Control C to copy this, and I'm going to throw this in there. I'm going to rename it Detail Mask, and I'm going to save that for later. And now we can begin texturing, and I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to close our baking scene because we're done with that. Do we want to save? No, we don't. Oh, one more thing. Since you haven't closed this yet, I hope not, because you're my friend. Under this dust cover, bolt, whatever you call it, errors, lots of them. We can easily fix this. So we're going to paint out our stuff. Oops, that's their AO maps. So we got our normals map, and as you can see, there's some errors. So first off, we're going to sample this color here. Just quickly. Okay, and then we're going to just throw that on there, because that's all the errors. This is a pretty clean bake, and I'm really happy with it. So I'm not going to go paint out any errors yet. Okay, there's some errors up here, and we can paint these out really quickly. As you can see, these errors are extremely easy to paint out. You can also fix this by using a clone stamp or whatever you want. That works too. So now, let's let's continue fixing errors. Oops. That's about it. This is a really, really good bake, and just even if there's these kind of wavy edges and whatever, as long as they look okay in your baked view, which they do for me, then no problem. Oh man, I forgot to highlight those details, but this doesn't matter. So I'm going to save this out as a PSD. So our normals map.psd, and I'm going to open this in, I'm going to throw this in our normal map slot. So now, as you can see, we've got that little detail area fixed. We can fix that area 2. I don't know where that is, though. On the throw this in right here. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. This bake came out pretty good the first time. Alright, so that's fixed, even though it doesn't look it, because the ambient occlusion maps need to be edited. Move this back, because I accidentally moved it. Oh man, I'm bad. And now I've gone and messed everything up. No, so yeah, that baked out okay. Everything looks good, and I'm gonna edit the ambient occlusion a little bit. And so if you can imagine what the ambient occlusion, how that's going to be edited, is pretty much the same way as editing the normal map. Basically using smudge, using clone stamp, using paintbrush. So right here, I'm just going to kind of kill all this. Not quite get that edge because it has some detail. So you can also notice that I turned up the padding on some of it. Or you might not be able to notice, but whatever. I noticed. Oh, there's some wavy detail. Sometimes if you paint out wavy detail on the ambient occlusion, then it actually helps it. So it helps it almost more than in painting it out on the normal map. Or at least visually, I think. So there we painted out that. Because it just makes everything smoother. There's no annoying shadows to bug you. Or anything of that nature. So I think actually that's going to be our final ambient occlusion, because I don't feel like editing it, to be quite honest. Yeah, so that's our ambient occlusion, and I'm going to throw this also in our PSD file here of stuff. And I'm going to make a new group for that. I'm going to call it AO Edits. Toss this in there. I'm going to change it to multiply mode. Alright, now we can begin texturing.